Hello, welcome to today's astrology study group. And we are going to look at this list here of setting up your astrological week. And I want to put you in touch with an ephemeris, and we're going to look at one, and then we should all have our own ephemeris. But I want to organize looking at the week ahead, and I put it into like six things basically, and I'll just read them and then we'll go over them and go from there. We'll just dive right in. So um, this is something that you're gonna maybe kind of ongoingly do. So sometimes you don't always have to do all these. Like I have your number one, start with the outer planets because they don't move too much at a time, and you will know when they are starting to make aspects or change directions or change sign way ahead. For instance, right now we know that Pluto is in Capricorn. It's at the near the end of the degrees. You should know at least that much if you've been paying attention or not. But anyway, whenever you jump in, sometimes you haven't been around you haven't looked at degrees or anything for a while, or maybe you never have. So um you just know whatever it is. That's why I had just start with the outer planets. But once you start looking at this every week, you'll know that Pluto is going to be in Capricorn. It's in Capricorn. It's in Capricorn. It's been there. If it's, I think it's 26 or 7 degrees right now, but we'll go ahead and look in a minute. So anyway, so I kind of already know that that's there. And then you also want to get an idea of where that is in your chart. Where's the late degrees of Capricorn in your chart? And so you already know that. And then you'll go ahead and then work your way back in closer, because those are the things that you'll be almost looking at more every week, of the closer aspects more often, because there's more, the moon moves fast, Venus, Mercury, Mars, there's a lot of things going on there moving faster. But anyway, so you start just noting that, and then note where they are in your own chart. So we say Pluto is in Capricorn and say it's in your sixth house. Then you'll, just note what that means and how long it's there and how it affects you. You'll be noting it's, sixth house, the house of health, or work or service, things, and then whatever sign is there for, or whatever other planets or anything is there for you, that will also impact that. Okay, so you'll start with that. And then you'll also note any planet changing signs. So we already know here now, we're looking at Pluto at, say, our 26 degrees. And we know, maybe within a year or two, that it's going to change signs. It will move into the next sign. All right, so we don't have to worry too much about that because we know it's going to be at least a year off. Okay, anything closer, like now, we know that, the Mercury cycle is approximately every 3 months for 3 weeks, it's retrograde. So it gives you a chance to redo shit. I'm sorry, redo things, to go over all the stuff, iron out different things, go over things, reconsider, because we're so much barreling forward into the future. We need those Mercury retrograde periods to, clean out drawers, go over stuff. Anyway, so you'll note that, and that's, when it's changing signs. Note any planet, I said the one before that. Note any planet changing sign, of course, but then note also any planet changing direction, retrograde, direct, retrograde, and then know the shadow period. So when we go over to the chart, I'll illustrate that a little bit, and you'll see what the shadow period is. But it's basically the period that the planet has to go over again after the retrograde. All right, so it's easier to show you. Okay, so then look also at the current moon cycle, noting its phase and sign, and know that, each month that you're going to have a full moon and a new moon, right? Or new moon and then a full moon. Sometimes you have two, depending on, because they're like 29 days. And if it falls perfectly, on the 1st or the 2nd and the 30th or the 31st, you could have two of either one, depending on how they line up. But no, more or less, there'll be one of each a month. And note where that is in your chart, because you only get one of those per year, right? You only get, the new moon in Aries is only one time a year. And then the full moon in Aries is only another time per the year. So just note that, because you may want to take advantage of that, knowing that ahead. You might know that, every, April, blah, 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 blah. The moon is such and such, and it will be making a certain aspect, and you're going to do a certain thing. Okay. Note number 5, note any tight aspects between any of the planets, and maybe the time that it will be there. It's like if you've got something that's going quick, it's going to be there a day. Or note if it's a outer planet that it might be there for, God forbid, in days or weeks, months. We all get them. And note that. And then the last one, note any theme or pattern. In the last few years, you should remember, we've been in the winter time when all the planets get tighter. We've been moving into a really tight wedge pattern. And like a couple of years ago, we had a really, really tight one. And that's when we all got locked down. Everything got really tightened up. And we all, as if the whole planet, went into this certain area because the, astrological aspects pointed that out. And each year, we've had a tight pattern in the winter season, when we had all that in Capricorn. But we've had, some of those outer planets moving further out, and since Jupiter's not there, and some of the other planets moved out of that spot, those tight spots, then we don't quite have that tight wedge anymore. But that was just one pattern. But if we remember studying those Huber patterns, the 7 patterns, the Jansky patterns, whatever the names are. And note that, is it a seesaw? Is it a bowl? Is it a bucket? Is there a planet? Is it like everything like a bowl? And then, what planet is moving into the handle position? The moon will move there quick, every month, but what other planet is there? So anyway, note those things, themes and patterns at the same time. And then I kind of mentioned this before. Notice if and where any of the above aspects your charts. Look at what house each planet is in, and any current aspects that they're making to you. Note if a planet changes houses in your chart. From what to what? Is it going from the 2nd to the 3rd, or 5th to the 6th, or what's going on? And then note where the monthly new and full moons occur in your chart. All right, I did post this in the chat. All right, I'm going to look at the chart now. Let's go over. And let me show you. Let's go look at the ephemeris. Okay. This is just one ephemeris, and this one actually has this one has some of the what do those call it? Asteroids, I guess. Yeah, planetoids, asteroids. So that's just how it came up. I'm not worried about that, but I just want to point out, looking at things. And let's just go ahead and look out over here at Pluto. See the column, it says Pluto. And then this again, as you can see on the far left side, it was October of 2022. So we'll look down and we see Pluto here, 26 Capricorn, 7 minutes. And then it's telling us right at the beginning, at the beginning line, whether it's direct or retrograde. And it says it's retrograde. In a written ephemeris, it's sometimes shadowed. It's the retrograde is a different color. So you can quickly, at a glance, see those periods. But in online here, this version they have it all uniform. But you can look down, and then we'll notice, if we do here, we're going to just kind of go through this and maybe just see the month ahead and while we're looking at this. So we notice here, we see the little D happen. We go, oh, and Pluto is direct. It turns direct, and then we'll go all the way over and we'll note the date on the 9th. Okay. Also, the full moon is also on the 9th, which is interesting. And you'll often find things like this, like, of course, the moon is gonna, something is gonna be happening when Mr. Pluto goes direct. Of course, Miss Moon, you better be full. Okay, but you'll see how the degrees, this is a little harder to see because it is an outer planet and it will move slow, but you can see the degrees aren't moving very much. Look at 26, 07, 07, 07, 07, 07, 06, and that moves direct. See, and then it goes 06, and then you see it 07, 07, 07, 08, 08, 08. And then if we were to go ahead more in the ephemeris, you would see it start to pick up speed. You can already see it picking up speed a little bit. Look at it, it's going in 2 days, it goes 1 minute. Okay, so you can see it's starting to pick up speed. All right, let's go on. Let's look at Neptune. Neptune's in Pisces, 23 degrees. We know it's not going to go, at the end of the month, it's going to 22. It's retrograde. We see it up there. Okay, nothing's happening there. We look at Uranus, it's 18 degrees. So we know it's up just past the middle of the sign. Don't need to look more further there. Look at Saturn, it's 18. Well, actually, we just looked just then quickly to see if it's, anything is going retrograde or direct, basically. All right, so Saturn, it's telling us that it's retrograde, and we know it's 18, so it's not going to change signs. And we just go down, we see the little d, and we go, oh, it turns direct. Saturn turns direct on the 24th. This is a busy day too. We'll get there, but a lot of times things glom up like that. So anyway, note that we wrote that down. All right, now Jupiter, anything going on with Jupiter? We look, oh, it's kind of at the early, it's retrograde, and it's early degrees of Aries. So, well, I wonder if it's going to go back into the next sign because it's retrograde. Look down, oh, and it does. There it is. And it moves into Pisces on the 29th. So we're going to note that. And then we go over here to Mars, and we see it's 20 degrees in Gemini. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 24. Oh, we see it slowing down. 24, 25, 25, 25, 25, and it turns retrograde on the 31st of October. So just to note that, if we've kind of missed that one, this is a good one to see. You can see that it's moving ahead the beginning of the month. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. It's like starting to slow down. No, you see, then it goes to 22, 23. Look how much longer. Okay, 24. Look how long it takes to get through 24 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And then now look at 25. Look how many days. 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 days. So you can see when you're looking at the ephemeris, the numbers should also tell you when something is speeding up or slowing down. Okay, Venus, we note that it's in Libra, and we're looking down, and we see it changes signs, on the 24th. Told you it was a busy day. And then also, just to note that the sun, let's go over there, look at it changes into the same sign, into Scorpio on the 24th. Interesting. The sun and Venus walk into Scorpio together on the 24th. Okay. Mercury. And we knew that it just went direct. We see in the beginning of the month here, it's 24 degrees Virgo, 21 minutes, and it's retrograde, and it's 24, 24, 24. And then it goes, yesterday it went direct at 24:13. So it's going to go start to pick up speed. Look at it was 24 for several days, and then if we went back into September, you'd see that it was at 24 for many days there. But you can see it's starting to pick up speed. Then it's almost trekking like a degree a day, and then here it's going, yeah, good degree a day. And by the end of the month, like on the 30th, like a week later, after the sun and Venus go into Scorpio, then, Mercury's trying to play catch up. Wait for me, guys. Come on, wait for me. And then it will then join the group. We know Mercury is never far away. It's always, the sign behind, the same sign or the sign ahead. It gets up ahead, and then it goes retrogrades, and then it goes behind the sun, and then it tries to catch up. It goes direct. It runs in front of it, and then it goes retrograde, and it gets behind, and it has that motion all the time. Okay, so that's basically, we looked at the sun. I guess I saw that. How you note all of those. So maybe just take a little note or jot them down, or if you have your chart, maybe you can print copies of it and then just write the little outer planets on the outside. You can do one for each month and then put where the inner planets are going to change. That's one way to do it, and you can take a note that and then maybe write things on your calendar. Okay, so this ephemeris. Now let's go over to the cancel. I don't want that. I want this one, share. Oh, almost, there we go. Okay, now here's the chart for today. And I want to talk about the shadow period of Mercury before I forget. So we know just today, actually, let me go back a day and you'll see Mercury, it says S, that means it's stationing, it's stationed, it's stopped. Just think about it, it's stopped. It really hasn't, but it's about ready to change. And you see here, it's I go back a day, see it's retrograde on the 30th, and then it's slowing down, slow down, and then boop, it went away. Now it's direct. Okay, but let me show you. Okay, so remember 24 Virgo. And then we're just going to go back 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we see it's stationed there. So let me just go back a day, go by days now. Okay, so on the 9th, let me just go back a day. Okay, so there it is on the 8th. I mean, on the 8th. Yeah, it was there on September 8th at 8 degrees Libra. Now it's okay. Let me go ahead. I mean, just go back a few days. You see, look, it's slowing down. It's 5, 6. It's going forward. This was the last, September 7, 7, 8. It's hanging there at 8, 8. It's slowing down. 8. Oh, it's gonna go. Look, it's stationary on the 9th, and then September 10th. It's like still at 8 stationary, and then on the 11th, that's right, remember September 11th, 9/11, Mercury turned retrograde. And then that apropos, I mean, it's just it's just funny. Okay, so 8 degrees Libra. Okay, that's so from 8 degrees Libra to where is it, 24 Virgo is a shadow. So this is what happened. Okay, so let's go ahead. So this is what's happening now. It's 8. So it's retrograding back into Libra. And then now it went back into Virgo. See, this is easy. See there. It's let me get it out of there. Get out of the way. Okay, you still see here we're getting to now the end of September. It's the 28th, and you see that's now it's gone. It's retrograded back to 25 Virgo. And let's keep going. 25, 24. And then now it's stationary. There it is. See if on the first, that's what we were just talking about. Stationary. So 24, it retrograded all the way back from our 8 degrees Libra up over here, about where the sun is now. Actually, this is funny. Yeah, it's about like, okay, so right when it stations kind of still is like right where the sun is how far that Mercury has to travel to get out of its shadow. See, and it's like in the shadow of the sun right here. So right here where it's turning direct, it lets you know that it has to travel all that distance before it gets ahead of the sun. That's where it went retrograde at 8 degrees. See, so it's like, think about it, it's tethered to the sun. It's on a leash and it's going to go running out of the sun and then boink, it can't go any further. That's as far as it goes, like boom. And then it's going to go back, or actually, all the other planets pass it, and then it will have to catch back up. Hope that makes sense. But anyway, it's the Mercury has to travel, it's got to go through all this ground again. 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all those degrees right in there. So what does that mean? What does all that mathematics, what does that mean? Well, it means you have to go over some of that stuff. Where is that in your chart? Where is 24 to, Mercury or Virgo to 8 Libra? Are there any planets in there? Are there any planets making aspects in there? Those are the issues and the areas of things that you have to redo, that are retrograde for you. And you'll see it'll change, in 3 months from now. Of course, it'll be, 3 months ahead. And, and then again, 3 months ahead. And then next year, it won't be at quite the same retrograde place. It'll be close, but it won't be over here. So note that, this is the sensitive area in your chart where this, take advantage of this Mercury retro or be affected by it. If you've got a lot of planets and different things going on, you could be definitely affected. So this stuff is good to know. Okay. What else do I want you to know about? So let's see. We said that we said that Mercury's let's go to today. Mercury just changed signs. Okay, and let's see, we're going to the 11th, and we went through a little while ago, and we noted all kinds of things for the whole month. We were noting things in the beginning of that, what was going on. But on the 11th, Mercury moves into Libra, so which is a week from now. Let's go look at that. Do 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 do. There, yeah. Whoops. See, look at there on the 11th. They're like late on the 10th or the 11th. It moves into Libra. I just have it late in the day. That's why it's there. We didn't get the 0 degrees. But anyway, so we get Mercury. That's kind of the biggest theme at the moment. So I know I told you we should go from the outer planets, but I just wanted to show you the shadow. And while we were there, note that this is kind of the big theme. It went direct and it's going to be changing signs. So Mercury's kind of like, maybe the front runner. All right, so let's just go with what I was telling you before. Let's just kind of hang in the middle here. Let's go there. Okay, so we let's note where Pluto is. Let's go out where Pluto is. 26 Capricorn. So that's not really doing anything. Mercury, will do we get close? Yeah, Mercury will make a trine over to it. We have to note that just because I was looking over at Mercury and we know it's actually the next day. Boom, there it is, October 7th. When is that? That's Friday. Okay, so Friday, we know Mercury is going to be making a trine over to Pluto. So what does that mean? And Mercury's in Virgo. So we got that Mercury, it's a home place for it. It's in Virgo. It's busy and it's analytical and it's reading and it's studying and it's talking and it's typing with its feet and stirring with its elbow and it's doing all kinds of things. But then it's making a nice trine aspect over to Pluto. So it's happily going into the depths of Pluto, bringing up communications, that plutonic stuff, that earthy things, that authoritarian stuff. I would look for a lot more information to be coming out, a lot more things being revealed, being exposed, getting kind of to the raw end of the, getting some of the stuff from the depths. And we're going to be seeing Mercury making this aspect over to Pluto for the next, year or two until Pluto gets out of that Capricorn. I mean, Mercury will still be making trines to Pluto, but not in the late degrees of Capricorn. That's what I'm saying. All right. Neptune's 23. So let's just go back a couple. Well, no, we note that Mercury was only at 24, so it didn't quite, oppose it. It was close. Okay. But we had a close opposition, because it was in Virgo and, it almost got back to 23 degrees. So it's almost opposing there. All right, just noting. All right, anything else with 23? Well, we got sort of maybe, we're seeing over here at Mars, but we'll get there. And then note where that's at in your chart. So, but that's not changing. That's what we're just noting. Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is over here in Aquarius. Note where that is at in your chart, because we noticed that when was it? Saturn. It goes direct on the 24th. I mean, we'll get there when, in another week or so, but just note that because that's been going retrograde in a certain area, a house. What house has it been retrograding in for you? And then it will go direct soon. Okay. But okay, so look now, noticing that Uranus, and look how close we got this. Here's our square that we've been watching, the 7th. And this is not showing the minutes. I mean, the degree, it's showing the degrees, but not the minutes. This chart I have selected, but but that's okay. That's still, it's, how do I say this? It's as far as it's going to go until, how do I say it? Let's go. Let's. I wish I can show you the minutes. I'll show you this again when it actually gets closer, when you can see the minutes. But you'll see, what is it, on the 24th? Is that when I said it goes direct? Okay, it's stationing. See how it rides pretty close there, but then Uranus goes back to 17. I think we looked at this when they were, as close as they could make it. But anyway, it's still within that square, and we're getting really close to it without it actually being exact. It's exact by degree, but not by minute, but that's pretty close. And look at the clash of things happening. This is going to feed into this Mercury and Pluto trine. So this information is coming up. This clash. I think this is going to be, I hope, more the populace winning this one. This square off here has to. Okay, what else are we? We're at Saturn and then Jupiter, and Jupiter is over here, and we note that it's in the early degrees of Aries, and we said that it was going to go back into Pisces on the 29th. So it's going to get closer and closer and closer to making another conjunction with Neptune, and we'll have to look ahead to see if it actually does. This is where we were, one of the rules, or one of the little things I was writing for you was, you'll note that when these outer planets actually do something, it's like, here we're going to watch the conjunction. We could see that it's getting close between Jupiter and Neptune, and we'll just note if it does. Okay. You can just look at an ephemeris if it does. We can look ahead, but I'm just going to leave it like that. But that's one of the things that you'll note. How close that's going to get, and where in your chart it is. What if you have a planet that's right at like 23 or 24 degrees Pisces? It's going to be aspected by Neptune right now, and then Jupiter is going to be getting closer to it, and conjuncting it. Okay, that's how those are in your chart. Let's also note what were the moon phases. So we have sign changes. What else do we have this week? Okay, let's just go through the days here. This was Friday. We have that trine. And what else? 14. So when we're looking now at things now, we've already looked to see if they're changing directions and changing signs. So we've already done that. Now we're just looking for the actual aspects. We're looking for when any of the numbers line up, when they get closer, anything, and then we'll go see what it is. Well, right here on the 11th, another busy day next week, the sun 18 degrees, making a so we got air making a trine over to Saturn, and making it would be what, a in conjunct, over to Uranus. So that's interesting. Something sudden out of the blue, kind of, while those two are making their trine. So that's interesting. Wow. I mean, square, while those two are making their square. And then we have Saturn making a trine over to the sun. So the sun might shine some light on something. There might be some good structural change, I hope. Anyway, so we're noting these degrees, and we're noticing this next week. So we're moving into, Mercury going direct. Mercury making no, I'm just recapping. Mercury's gone direct. Mercury will be making a trine over to Pluto, and then the sun will be making a trine over to Saturn. Okay. I know I'm not maybe getting everything, but I'm trying to follow some kind of continuity here for you. There's so many things. We have to kind of pick out the pertinent ones. All right. So what else is going on? The moon is always a trigger. Moon could be trigger because it moves so fast. And when it's here, it's like right now, or next week, when it's, let me go back a day. Boop. Okay, so on Monday the 10th, it's just starting to move into Taurus. So as it moves into Taurus, that's an earth sign, and it's going to be making some kind of it's going to be going over the North Node and Uranus, and that's what it does every month. So we've got, this is an interesting thing. And we had the conjunction of those two this summer. I think it was July, North Node and Uranus. So the moon keeps, every month it comes back and brings that stuff up. But now, when it's doing this, it's also going to be trining Pluto. So maybe we can all also look forward to this time of the month while Pluto's still in an Earth sign, of having some of that information being brought out, having some of that earthiness, um, people wanting security, people wanting facts, people wanting stuff solid. Their emotions want solid answers. They want some solid depth to the knowing of different things. And, it hits that, it's funny, it hits the North Node, the moon does. It conjuncts the North Node, and then it conjuncts Uranus before it trines Pluto. So it kind of has that little bit of a cycle. It has to greet and deal with the North Node, then it has to deal with the Uranus, then it has to deal with Pluto. Okay, as it goes through, because that's just the order, the degrees. So it goes, 14 degrees North Node, 18. When it hits that, it conjuncts Uranus, and then when it hits 26 Taurus, it will be trining Pluto. Okay, hope that makes sense. And of course, it's making other aspects, but I was just telling you that one. Okay, what else are we moving toward? We're moving toward the full moon. Boop, boop, back there on the 9th. Let's see. We know we're looking for these patterns every month. So here's the full moon. Here's our culmination. How can we tell it's a full moon? Well, it's opposite the sun. The sun is lighting it up. So it's lighting, the sun is shining on it. It has to be full. It's lighting it up. When the moon is with the sun, it's hidden, it's conjunct. Yeah, when it's with the sun, you can't see it. So like Venus right now, Venus is getting closer to the sun, and it's getting, it's going to be getting close to its retrograde phase. What else do I want to say here? So we, the sun. Anyway, we'll talk about that one. I don't want to confuse you. So we've got this opposition here, sun and moon. So that's our full moon, and that's on the 9th, and it is in, the moon is in Aries. So the full moon, this is the time of year that when there is a full moon, it's in Aries. In the springtime, the new moon it would be, I would say, did I say that right? When the moon is in Aries, when the new moon is in Aries, it's in the springtime. There we go. Because it would be opposite of this. I think I said that right. All right. I think that's kind of the bigger things. Let's just see if there's anything else. That's pretty big. Mercury direct. Mercury trining Pluto, Sun trining Saturn, and then full moon in Aries. Okay, so it's kind of like, it energized, an energized one. All right, I don't want to go too far ahead with things, but we notice we have, let's see, we talked about that. We talked about, and then Mercury will also change signs too on the next day. There it is. Oh, there. And I have it again set late in the day, so it's at 1 degree because it moves, starting to move. Okay, get your eyes looking at that. Yeah, remember the same day that the sun trines over there to Saturn, we have Mercury changing signs. Okay. So again, note where this is in your chart. Note kind of some of these energies, and then what does it mean? Like, okay, in my chart, and it's changed signs, or it's trining at the 26. I have nothing at 26. It's like, okay, but you still have those planets in those houses, so it's activating those houses, even though you have nothing, say at 26 degrees. Like, let's just go back when there, so you can see it. Okay, say on the 7th. So go look for Mercury, in Virgo. Where is that? What house is it in your chart? And then where is Pluto in Capricorn? Again, you may not have anything at 26 degrees, but just look where um, that that trine is happening in your chart. Note what houses are being trined, so that energy is being activated still. Don't have to have a planet. If you got a planet there that's aspecting, well, then now you've got more conversations going on, but you still have those areas of life that are affected. Okay, I hope that sums that up and gives you some idea of how to implement some of these, so it's not just astrobabble. Again, look for obvious things, anything changing, signs, anything turning retrograde or direct. Note when something is going to move either into or out of its shadow period. Note any relevant aspects, anything, what the numbers are the, what they are. Note the moon cycles. Are we coming into a full moon? Are we coming into a new moon? If it's a full moon coming into a full moon this next week, you should be wrapping things up, ending things, getting closing up on things, finishing things up, getting ready to, have that culmination. And then, you starting to build then toward the whole new moon. Okay, I think that's it. I think we got it. So I will sign off for today and see you all next time. Bye bye.